Podcasts today are filled with stories of athletes behaving badly, and it may seem as if players are wilder now than ever. But a new book, Football Wife, takes us back to the Vikings of the 1960s and early 70s. Pardon me, and you see that things were pretty wild back then without a lot of news coverage. Dr. Jan Adams wrote that book. She used to be Mrs. Carl Kasulke through a rather turbulent period of your life, right?
That's right.
Oh, welcome. Thanks for being here. I mean, through the eyes of the public, you had this image of the Cinderella couple, the jock and the doc, but behind closed doors, it wasn't so much, was it?
No, it was a lot of challenge for me and a lot of learning for me. Yeah.
I mean, some of the issues that you cover in this book, alcoholism, drug use, womanizing, and a lot of people didn't know about it, did they?
No, I think a lot of people knew about it, but didn't say anything to me about it.
And that's kind of the way it was back then.
Yeah, many of the news people knew about it and told me later about it, or I read about it in a book that was published about him, but no, I didn't know about it.
Well, we have some file footage of Carl Kasulke. Obviously, there's a lot of fondness for him in Minnesota. You have fondness for him, and many people will remember that he was paralyzed in an accident that ended his career. You have a fondness for him still, though, correct?
I do. He was a good man. He was a good man who did some bad things, and I think there were reasons for that.
Yeah, and at the time you were thinking it was the drugs and the alcohol, but in more recent times you've come to perhaps a different conclusion about at least part of it, right?
I did. Mary Hilgenberg at Carl's funeral helped me understand about chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is repeated concussions. And it's the first time, I'm a doctor, it's the first time I heard about that, but when I looked it up, I saw my husband on every page.
And it's interesting, you write about being at the visitation and the funeral and seeing so many other former Vikings in what bad shape they were in.
They really paid big for the privilege of playing football. They really paid.
Well, who do you hope to reach with this book?
Well, I think the idea of the concussions is something that people really need to know about. But the other issues cover so many things that we all deal with, alcoholism, and I hope to reach everybody who's struggling in their lives.
And many of these issues. All right, Dr. Jan Adams, thanks very much for coming in
you.
to tell us about this. And we want to